taken from me because they end up being cool after like whatever. We'll get into maybe some of that stuff later. But I do want to go back to this thing now. Barry opened the door on something, and I thought it was a great segue to bring Robert in. Oh, Michael says, "Hey Barry," by the way. You guys can see the chat. There's a comment section over on the window on StreamYard. Yeah. We're not terribly
hey to me and only me, not to anyone else. Hey, Michael.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of lurkers in there, I'm sure, just waiting for me to put my foot in my mouth. So I'm all about it. With that being said, what's that?
You pay that guy, Barry?
I have a lot of people are going to be coming in to heckle all of you.
I love it. I love it. So that being said, Barry, you opened the door on something, and this is something that I think Rob and I kind of got into last year on our podcast. So we'll see how this goes. I think it was we used to have a segment called Guru Buster, which I thoroughly loved. It got me completely, on some block lists. But that's fine. That only means you're doing a good job. So Barry, you opened up the window about attribution for Black Friday, Cyber Monday. And I think it'd be awesome to get into the weeds a little bit about your concern here, because I've got takes. I'm sure Dylan and Rabba have some stuff. Rabba has. I mean, clearly, CMO of Triple Whale might have a couple opinions about attribution. Hashtag not a sponsor. But I'd be very interested to see what your concern is, Barry. I'll throw it to you, and you kind of take us there.
By the way, this is definitely Michael Lorenzos, who is the head of ecom for Bleach London. Just
okay,
FYI.
Good. I like that.
Shout out Bleach London, former client of mine.
Right on.
But yeah, my Barry trademark Barry hot take on a lot of this is attribution is one of the biggest things that people try to get right, and they completely get it wrong, and they misunderstand it at scale massively. And one of the biggest challenges post iOS 14 is that you now not only have to choose what attribution you want to look at, or what you want to optimize to, but it's also affecting what you can look at in Facebook. Whereas before, I could have said, I only want to do one-day click, attribution or conversion window, it used to be called, and I could then look at any attribution window. But now it's this one and the same. So I have to make a decision about how I want Facebook delivering my ads, but also how I want to be able to report on my ads in platform, right? And optimize them, which is just in platform. So that's step one. Is there's a ton of confusion around that. I think the second that you bring one-day view attribution in, you are going down a very slippery slope, both from a over attribution standpoint, and even worse, in my opinion, in a optimization standpoint. You are allowing Facebook to optimize to get view conversions, which are often done by delivering cheaper impressions. So it might optimize to creative that is just easier for it to deliver. So it might be impressions. It might be images instead of video. You might see Facebook skew more towards that because it's cheaper for Facebook to deliver an impression often than a video. So the bigger problem with attribution for the holidays is that with a lot of these sales, you naturally have people that are A, your customers, B, familiar with your brand and ready to buy anyway, and or C, like willing, like finding you just now and going to buy. But when you do these promotions, you kind of like assume when you look at the metrics, you're like, oh my God, this is the best campaign we've ever done. And for Black Friday, Cyber Monday. And it's just taking credit for people that were already waiting to buy. I have multiple products that I am waiting to buy on Black Friday, Cyber Monday just to get a deal, right? Like, I don't need a Black Friday, Cyber Monday ad to get me to do that. But, we're all, as advertisers, expected to do that. Our clients want to do that, or some of us want to do that. So that's where the attribution gets real murky, is aside from what I said earlier about the click versus view, any of that's a bigger conversation. It's the actual buyer mentality and like logical actions that they're taking or not taking And we can't assume that it's just that the ads are driving that, because they're often just taking credit for conversions, even though these people are already going to take action. So the last thing I'll say on that is that on those days where people are have the highest likelihood of actually making a purchase, the ads that are going to do best are just the ones that have the highest click-through rate, because it's going to get the most people to your site. And those people, it's going to get the most people for Facebook to take click attribution credit for. So that is what I see all the time, is like people thinking that their ads did something, but in reality, it's just that they served an ad to someone and they were going to take action that 24-hour period likely anyway. And you didn't create an incremental conversion or sale, but rather something else. You're just taking credit for people that were already ready to buy. So I'll pause there. Sorry for the long verbose speech.
I love it. Is it some Dylan, Robert, you guys want to take this? I mean, I have a take, but mine is going to be considered contrarian, so I'll go last.
So I'll jump in. Yeah, I mean, okay. I used to just look at everything in Ads fucking Manager, but now these days you really can't. So I mean, we're only looking at revenue and performance from a UTM perspective. But I would imagine on these actual sale days, I'll be looking a lot more in the returning customer ratios, more or less, to kind of gauge how many are actually new there, and then kind of cross-referencing those with the UTMs and kind of which campaigns they're in, and then kind of ramping up those campaigns that way. So that's kind of how we'll go about it. Because I mean, shit, even last year, I would just slap the computer and money would come out. It was like just double the fucking budget. But this year is going to be a little bit more different, I would imagine. So we are going to be looking a lot more at the returning customer rate to kind of really gauge. As you said, people are already planning on doing all this stuff. But the 1 day view thing, I would love to dive more into this, but that's going to be a long fucking conversation, because top of 7 day click and then retargeting. I'm like, whatever, 7 day click, 1 day view. I really don't care. But it's case by case there, I'd imagine. But yeah, we're kind of in the same boat where we just do everything off UTMs.
Robert, what about you?
Yeah, so as I prefaced, I'm a bit of a Black Friday, Cyber Monday kind of curmudgeon, and I know we're supposed to have a little bit of heat on podcasts, but
you can do whatever you want, man.
Yeah, so I'll rant a little bit, because I pretty much totally agree with Barry. So just looking at it from, take the attribution question aside. So I went to school for economics, so I see everything through basically like the business lens. So just taking that to the layer up. If you're going to say like you could run a Veterans Day sale in November, and then I'm going to run an early Black Friday sale. So I'm going to start on Monday, and then I'm going to go all the way to Monday. So I'm going to run 7 days there. You have 8 days. And then on top of that, I'm going to run a VIP sale and give them 30% off from Tuesday to Tuesday. So by the time you take all these discounting, it's like, when the fuck do you make money? Like, why would I want to give the top cohort, my VIPs, the people I know are going to spend the most money, a discount? It's fucking retarded. Give them a product, bundle something else, do something other than a discount. They're going to spend the most money with you. Why would you like? And so going back to, I've had some clients where I'll just spend up to Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and then basically go dark. So I'll overspend the month. And then I know I'm just not going to play in those auctions, because quite frankly, I almost have an aversion to running discount ads. I just feel weird about spending money unless the business and economics work out, right? Like I'm in a $150 or $200 AOV where I know things are going to net out. I feel weird running discount ads, because even if you win, by the time the economics net out, even if you just stay at the gross profit level, that's why I track POAS. Even if you stay at the gross profit level, you're leaving nothing in terms of operational expense. So the contribution margin is essentially nil. And so anyways, without ranting too much more on that, that's kind of how I feel. And the same thing as well, like I have some big clients that have really robust emails, and yeah, my ROAS looks fantastic on a day when we send out 50,000 emails. Fucking, what do you think it is? And so I don't know. To Barry's point, I think attribution is just such a rabbit hole that it's helpful for me to stay at the macro level sometimes, just to understand what's going on. Because in what world are you going to be able to even hit your month if 7 out of the 31 days or 30 days or 10 out of the 30 days are all going to be at a discount? And usually it's a heavy discount, right? Where you're going to be in the 20 to 30 percentile. So I don't know, without being too much more of a curmudgeon, that's kind of where I stand, where I think it's cool. You should pull the money forward. It's a great cash flow play. Like if you need the money, it's fantastic. But ultimately, like when you look at these people, like I like to actually average my month or November and December together, because a lot of times, to Barry's point, you're just pulling sales forward. Like these people they're just buying up a bunch. And so all the people that were going to buy in September, they bought, or in December, they bought all their supplies at a discount in November. And so you lose that sales cycle in December. And that's why a lot of times you see that big December slump for a lot of products, especially if you're outside of the gifting vertical, because everybody that's purchased is purchased. And you did a good job then, you're right. Like your Black Friday, Cyber Monday was good. You satiated all the demand, but if you're not concentrating on prospecting and that new customer revenue, you're going to end up squeezing a dry towel in December.
I love the squeezing a dry towel reference. That's pretty good. So one thing about attribution, I'll get to that in a second, but I love the conversation about discounting on Black Friday, because honestly, like, especially this year, okay, mini rant for 1 quick second. So first off, if you're discounting your product, what you're doing is you're paying more money, and during times of higher CPMs to make a lower profit margin to acquire a lower quality customer with a lower profit margin on them at a higher volume, so you make less money on each customer. Second, those customers are far less likely to have a decent LTV because they're more price conscious than somebody else indexing that fashion. So you're paying extra money to make less profit on a customer with lower LTV. Now, with COVID in the situation, let me ask you a question. What if you're the dog that does catch the bumper? What if you do sell 20,000 things and your product hasn't left Hong Kong because there's a boat outside of Long Beach, so you're not even able to get it landed for 6 weeks, and then 3 to 5 more weeks until you're actually able to deliver? So you sell a whole bunch of shit at a low profit margin that absolutely crushes your profitability on people that were only going to buy, but now you're getting chargebacks over 1 or 2%, so you can't take payment from Visa anymore. Then you have a warehouse full of product that you can't sell because also, by the way, because you have all these chargebacks and negative feedback, your advertiser score on Facebook is so low that they ban you from even being able to run ads. Now you're in a situation of a fuck ton of stock that you have to pay in order to warehouse, that you cannot advertise on Facebook to deliver, and you cannot take any major credit card to get payment. And you're expecting for this to be a good thing for you. So, like, first off, Black Friday, if you don't run it right, will absolutely fucking tank your business. We see it happen every single year, and I'm really scared right now for a lot of people. There's one ad agency that we all love because they're very super nice, and I asked them a question a couple weeks ago, like, hey, Black Friday, what about fulfillment and stuff? Like, fulfillment's not our issue. And I said, well, is your client being able to be in business next year your problem? And they left me on red, and they may or may not have blocked me again. I'm not exactly sure. Wonderful people. I won't call them out by name because I'm just whatever. Good folks. Rabba has championed them for a long time, and I think they're very good at what they do, but just a concern about knowing your lane. So attribution. Digital marketing has this concept what we call bottom-up attribution, which is basically a lie told by ad agencies to get credit for sales. Attribution is 100% bullshit. If the salesperson at the store is, when you go to a car dealership, is that salesperson that gives you the test drive responsible for the reason that you bought that car? Or is it the 37 fucking television commercials, 3 of your friends, and 43 different billboards you saw on the way, plus 5 news articles and some Googling the reason you bought it? Can you just scale? Like, all I need to do is get this person to take more test drives and we're good to go. No, that's not a scalable solution. Yes, they're a piece of the puzzle, but attribution is absolute bullshit. Thank you, Michael. So the concept of attribution in general is a lie told by ad agencies to customers to try to get larger market share. You want to get your best attribution, get your best ROAS or POAS. I love that. I'm assuming that's profit on ad spend?
Yeah, gross profit over total ad spend.
GPOAS.
Now, that sounds well.
G is silent. It's like
it's essentially well, it's essentially contribution margin. So it'd be CMO. That sounded terrible.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it's just like fuck it.
Yeah,
gross profit,
POAS
fine.
is good.
People POAS is good. Yeah, we
I
have
like
POAS, NC ROAS. And,
so yeah, when I'm measuring stuff, here's what I look at: spend. That's it. That's my attribution model. Spend and time. Those are the only things. I'm currently managing some brands where, like, we're not even able to run things with any decent amount of attribution or anything. And the way that I ultimately discern whether or not this is a valuable thing is I look at it like it's television, radio, or print, or out of home. When I invest here, do I get a lift? When I pull my investment, do I see a drop? One of the greatest examples of this is what we did with Uber. cut back $10,000 a day on programmatic. What happened? Zero drop in overall profit margin. Zero drop in overall business. Now, that is a hyperbolic example, but my point here is everything that you're doing is additive in some fashion or subtractive in some fashion to the overall experience. What you got to do, in my opinion, is you look to any one of these channels to figure out what their unfair advantage is in the consumer journey, and you exploit the shit out of that. Facebook, for instance, is an intent-driving market research device. The better you do at getting your Facebook number on day one to improve, the better your Google results are going to be, the better your email is going to be, the better your site conversion rate is going to be, because you are driving a higher volume of higher qualified customers with a higher value of intent to your store. And so all you need to do, if you want to make a better number, is make your day one results on Facebook more efficient. Now, in the conversation of 1 day click versus 7 day click, 1 day view, I think there are two options. Either you're going towards 1 day click because you can get out of the learning phase and you're going to focus on that highest quality customer and you're going to drive them with the highest amount of volume because you have a very simple ad account, a very high volume, and you focused on one specific business objective and you are smashing the shit out of it. Or you're going on a 7 day click because attribution doesn't mean fucking anything to you. And you're just trying to let the system see the highest quality of consumers. And all you're trying to do is drive the highest volume of people who are likely to lift your business as a whole. Either one of those things, I think, are the way to go. The 7 day click, there's no value. I think 7 day click is less value than 7 day click, 1 day view, because I'm not letting Facebook see all those people with ad blocking. I'm not letting Facebook see all those people that might see the ad but then open an email. I'm not letting Facebook influence the people that aren't going to click on a Facebook ad but are totally going to search the thing later. And a 1 day click, 1 day view completely drops out the ability for me to see what happens on a tail of, well, maybe the person bought on 36 hours later. So for me, number one, attribution is absolute bullshit. I measure on spend and time. I got beaten over the head by somebody that used to work at Got the Ranker. She spent $100 million a year on television ads. Her attribution model was 15 minutes after the infomercial aired.
Wow.
Our market. And that's how she would spend 9 figures a year on television, doing like Ginsu knives and proactive and all that fun stuff. And I couldn't come to her with like, well, the Facebook numbers is like, I don't give a shit. Fine. So you took more credit from email. Great. I know that they did good. Whatever. I don't care. So one of the things that I do for people right now is understand what the real number is. What's an allowable CPA on the platform? Is say, what is all of your email, last click, revenue? Let's take that off the board. Now let's say paid media, total revenue and total paid media. That gets you a total CPA, right? A total ROAS, right? So total conversions and paid media. That gets you to basically understand what is your allowable CPA, because maybe that's $78, but Facebook is showing you $120. Awesome. Now you can do the Fahrenheit to Celsius calculation. So you understand, great, a 120 on Facebook is a 70 something in my store. If I get to a 100, I'm going to hit 65. What do I need to do now? Not give a fuck about Facebook. I'm just comparing it to itself, and my goal is to get to a 115. The best way of doing that, I get rid of the 130 ad and continue to reduce my cost, because I'm optimizing my account by removing the weakest link in my chain so I get stronger and stronger and stronger. And so I don't give a fuck about attribution because it's bullshit. And Black Friday last year, I remember a lot of heat from some people that I haven't heard fuck all from the last month, for what it's worth, about, well, 28 days, why we should absolutely spend the fuck up on Black Friday because we're going to get this massive lift in the middle of December. Yeah, well, once 28 day went away, the conversation about delayed attribution fucking went with it. So that, to me, is a sign of this was absolute bullshit. And now we can't lie to the customer, and we don't have a good lie to support our business motives here. So we're just not going to say anything. But
well,
I mean,
if you're
that's my opinion. I said I had a contrarian take. It's contrarian in that it's like not agency first bullshit.
right.
So like it's not necessarily popular. But
Well,
that's my opinion.
I gotta say, call me out if you think anything I'm saying is agency first bullshit, because that's not normally at all my goal. But there's something I find flawed with what you're talking about the attribution, because I have tested this and I play with this a lot. When you give Facebook the opportunity to, when you say, I want 7 day click, 1 day view, when you put that setting in, Facebook is going to take advantage of that, and it is going to deliver your ads to different people in different ways than if you do 7 day click only or you do 1 day click only. And by the way, I want to caveat, I'm not saying nobody should use 7-day click, 1-day view. I
Sure.
just think that most people shouldn't. Higher AOV things, probably, okay? Like you need more data in there. But if you are using 1-day view, it is and this is going to be spicy, I think, for you. You have to be thoughtful about what you are excluding and what you are not excluding, because again, that 1-day view in Facebook will intentionally optimize and to those users that are already taking action. So Facebook's going to just lob up an impression to them. They're going to have it, and then Facebook's going to count that as a conversion, even though that impression had zero impact on what you're doing. And I will go further and say that when you are doing creative testing, when you are doing landing page testing, anything that you want to test in Facebook, and you have that 1-day view on, and you don't have your customers excluded, and you don't have your recent visitors excluded, okay? Facebook is going to prioritize, and Facebook is going to prioritize delivering to people that are already familiar with your brand, have already been to site, which is going to skew how your ads work, and it's going to skew how your creative tests hit, because a more branded ad will work more to people that are familiar with your brand. A less branded ad, which is what you probably want to be putting out there to get more new people in your funnel, if that's your goal, you're gonna lose that edge because Facebook is going to prioritize people that are already in there. So I have done this. I've tested this. I've played with this a lot. I've done controlled experiments of certain levels of exclusions, and watching how Facebook absolutely you can't see within your ad set like how it's delivering, but I've seen it absolutely is driving a lot of impressions and a lot of spend to those people that are closest to already taking action. So you need to either be aware of that if you're not excluding, or actively, thoughtfully exclude as much as you can for that sector that you are trying to target. What do you think about that, Charlie? Like, that's a big. I've wanted to talk about that for a while. I've wanted to talk to you about that for a while.
No, I love it. One, I absolutely agree with the premise of what you're saying. Two, I want to challenge the value of it.
Sure.
Do I care that Facebook is it bad for me that Facebook at scale is seeing a larger and larger amount of good impressions, and it sees it has a higher volume of what good customers look like, and I'm getting a better estimated action rate and lower CPMs because I'm delivering more positive impressions? If I know that Facebook's attribution is 100% bullshit, and I'm measuring the incremental value of the shape of the curve of my investment in Facebook across my entire channel.
Sure.
So my point is, yes, I'm going to be having duplicitous attribution, but I default to my previous statement of attribution is bullshit.
Yeah.
And I will then go to say, if Facebook can see an extra 20, 30, 50, whatever, 20% more conversions, and that means that I'm getting better social proof, I'm getting a better estimated action rate, I'm getting more preferential bidding in the platform because people are having a higher quality experience with my brand, and that means that the lift I'm seeing on aggregate across the entire account is improved, then I'm okay with that. And I feel like for me, if I'm not going 1-day click, then I'm going 7-day click, 1-day view, because I'm leaning into that. So I agree with you. And to that point, that's where I go with a 1-day click.
Right.
If instead I'm going off the premise of I don't give a fuck, I just want the most amount of data in my intent creation device, and I want my salespeople to see every win possible, then I'm going to swing all the way the other way.
Sure.
I would say the 1-day click, 1-day view. I'll go this far. That's the worst model that you can go with.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Yeah. Can I jump in?
Please.
Yeah. So I actually agree with both of you guys. So I think, Barry, what you're talking about is technically correct. And Charlie, for me, I like to either live at the extreme. Like, I have enough data to drive proper 1-day clicks, and then I can get an actual attribution read. If not, then I'm going to open it all the way up because I don't care. And what I do care about is my ecosystem ROAS or MER. So I'm tracking that. I'm tracking my NC ROAS. That's going to be my new customer revenue or over total ad spend. And then I'm tracking my POAS, my gross profit over ad spend. And then I'm just using incrementality, kind of going back to Charlie. Like, that's the OG moves. Like, I do actually, like, I don't have the expletive, but I do think attribution is fundamentally broken and will always be broken. Like, I think that there's just no incentive for Apple to make any type of steps backward in terms of their privacy stance. If anything, they're going to triple down on it. It's just such an incentive. If you want an Android phone and you want to be tracked, that's fine. If you want to be a rich person and don't want to share any of your data, you buy an iPhone. Exactly.
I can be both, can I?
Yeah,
I can be rich and have my data tracked, right?
Hey, I'm not with data being tracked. I don't mind targeted ads. I like the idea that my experience on my device is tailored to make me happier.
Yeah, but I mean, you guys get the hyperbolic of this, but so I mean, ultimately, I think that that's kind of the to caveat that, though. I do think you should test it, because I've seen some weird stuff before, and you should definitely test what attribution model. But for me, I either open it all the way up, or I have the data to run it at the 1 day click is kind of my jam there.
I want to be clear. Sorry.
Oh, with what we're kind of talking about, it's funny because this happened to me probably like Monday. So where, hey man, our fucking campaigns are killing it, man. What's going on? I reach out to the client like, hey, it's a great day to scale, of course. And I get the reply back, oh yeah, we sent out an email to all of our customers on this specific item, and I was like, well, fuck me, because our CPA got cut. It was a fourth. It was a fourth of what it normally was, and I was like, dude, I know what I'm doing. And then of course, we pushed out an email. No, don't worry. And I'm like, fucking hey, dude. So I mean, yeah, that's a great example to where it looks good, but in reality, it wasn't even fucking Facebook by any means.
Yep. Yeah, but how did those? By the way, I still want to stick on the attribution conversation, but the whole email thing. I have a weird thing about email, because I'm like, 90% of the people that are in your email funnel are thanks to my ads. Like, and you're like, everyone's touting like, oh, email's so great. And it's like, you forced people to get into this email funnel. They would have just maybe bought sooner. And now you're like taking them into the email funnel to give all the attribution to email. Because again, in some ways, I do agree, Charlie, attribution can be bullshit. And often is. But this is one of those main ways. Like, holy cow. There are great values to email, especially for existing customers. But for new customers, taking credit for like email marketers taking credit for all of the customers that I brought into the freaking email in the first place. And I've had clients that aren't even tracking the lead event. And I'm like we're just optimizing the purchase, and they're like trying to funnel people in to also get, their email signups to give them a discount. And we don't even have an event to track that, because they don't care. So there's no connect between what money we're spending on Facebook ads or any ads and how many actual people went in to get an email lead from there. And it's like, what are we doing? Those people are becoming customers maybe in a few weeks, but they came in from Facebook. Like,
where are you
what's
putting a
going
lead
on?
event? That's the issue I've been seeing, is I love tracking that too, but with the prioritized events, we just really go purchase, initiate checkout, add to cart. So
yeah, but if they're not purchasing, right? If they're not purchasing in that window, then the lead event is something.
I want to mention something about this email, but before that, the AEM that Dylan down here, like in our like little, like that down there, you mentioned
that light is so cool.
AEM, by the way, I'm only tracking purchase and add to cart. I'm not doing the 4 extra things for value, because I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit, because it's not Facebook's job. It's my job. My job is to drive the highest amount of customers I possibly can into a good experience. And then it is the website's job and the email's job to get that LTV. I'm not trying to bring in a customer because of extra value, unless I'm running like 14 different offers on my account. Maybe I'm running them.
That would suck.
But like, I don't really give a shit. And here's the thing. I think you could easily spend a couple $1 million a year on one offer. I think the more offers you advertise, the weaker your business is when it comes to strength in your advertising, because it means you now have five products, and they have 5 different customer journeys, and each one of those has their own testing models of what happens on the pages, and then you got a creative test for each one of them, and then you're overcoming objections for each one, and then they all have their own email flows and all of this stuff, and you're getting 1/5 the amount of data to drive bringing those customers. So for me, like, the more things you advertise, the more diversified your investment. I always say the more places that you invest in trying to make smart, the more dumb employees you have. And it's phenomenally easier to fix a machine with 3 parts than it is one with 20. Like your friend with the MG Roadster, it's in the shop 10.5 months out of the year. And then like he gets 25 miles on it and it's back in the shop again. Because there's a million fucking parts that are all going to break. And there's no way for you to really be able to handle that at scale, in my opinion. Now, I have been at spots where we had $50,000, $60,000, $100,000 a day, like SaaS businesses. Dylan and I actually both worked on the same account at different times. And we got down to like income level, device, browser window that you were on, time of day, different journey flows, different onboarding flows. Like we got nutty. And I got the CPA from $60 down to 12. And it was awesome. And we ended up cutting spend from 50 grand a day down to 15 grand a day. We had a good time. Anyway, I love this thing because what this is telling, this is getting back to the point about the attribution and all of that. So I don't know how you guys do it. And Robert, I want to talk with you offline about seeing if I can't get my ecosystem ROAS doc built inside of Triple Whale, because then I'm and I have a brand that I might need to bring into the family. Shopify.
Turn it up.
Anyway, that being said, we'll have a nice off-screen conversation about it. Hook me up, Bo. Anyway, that being said, I measure by percentage of spend by channel, and then ultimately measure the. I try to basically factor in the contribution to the bottom line, and what I'm looking at for is of my revenue. If I'm getting 30% of revenue from email or SEO, what I know is that means I can run, if I go from 30 to 40, I can run Facebook at a greater and greater loss because I'm getting that revenue. So when somebody says, well, my target ROAS on Facebook needs to be a 3, my response is hire a better email team and get your SEO shit and get your SEM shit together, because I want to run you at a 1 so we can quintuple your spend.
Or a 0.5 or 0.25.
What's that?
I said, or a 0.25 if you can really get,
I mean,
if you can get people in at a loss and have great. Look, that's the thing about all of this is this varies so wildly for every business.
Yeah.
Because if you're a business that sells thousands of products, right? Then that value optimization really does matter, because you might have people buy multiple things.
Sure. If you're running Home Depot, go for value.
Exactly. Like that's the big difference there, right? If you have a hero product, then value is less valuable. But
I like that. Value is less valuable. That's a good one.
Yeah.
No, I love it. What are you gonna say, Robin? You look like you keep saying something. I keep cutting you off.
Oh, no. That was just kind of rounding out the points. I think that's absolutely it. I mean, ultimately figuring out at the end of the day, everybody's lying to you. The only person that's not lying, to is Shopify, right? Like that's actual money in the bank. And the other thing is, you don't want to get like this is in my opinion, this is kind of going to be the mini CMO era, where there's going to be a lot of people that haven't been exposed to like P&Ls or balance sheets or understanding contribution margin or profits and stuff like that. And that's not like a knock on anybody or a judgment. It's just, you didn't have to. Like the last 4, 6, 8 years in marketing has just been so bullish that to Dylan's point, like you literally just, hey, something's broken. We're not making money. Hold on, Dylan, slap it a couple times. And like more money just falls out of the Facebook machine. Yeah. I mean, that was legitimate. Like it was true. If you had a decent offer, a website that worked, and like somebody half decent doing best practices, like you're going to print money no matter what you're doing. That's not the case anymore. And so it's kind of, it's not a problem till there's a problem. And so that's why I think you're going to see a sophisticated, I don't think all the hullabaloo of like all these agencies going away. I think the ones that are going to go away are the ones that don't, like, I don't think there's going to be any value dissipation. I think it's just going to transfer into more of the strategic role, or possibly partnering more at the profit level to be like, hey, I know we're driving $100 million in revenue, but you owe $1 million to the bank this year. Like those are just like, I had a client that literally made $1 million last year and he netted a negative $22,000. Can you imagine driving $1 million in revs and you have to pay negative 22K? Like, that is just not the path. And so I think you're going to see a lot of that market correction, and the people that are still kind of hanging out in these other arenas that just aren't driving value anymore. Like, I hear your point about email, Barry, but honestly, I would rather have a fantastic email program and a shitty media buyer than a phenomenal Charlie buying my ads and some fucking scrub running my email. Like, you need. I would
much rather have that better email person too, for what it's worth.
You can get ads to be okay. Like, if your growth driver, if your only pathway or vector of growth is Facebook ads, dude, you need to rethink that. Facebook ads should be an augmentation of the ecosystem. And I think that's what happened.
But okay, hold on. What then? How are you getting people into the emails to see your emails?
Yeah, so it's
creative testing it broad. Let the site traffic come in.
No. Maybe I misunderstood. If Robbie, you're saying you don't need good Facebook people, good Facebook ads.
No, I'm saying it's an augmentation. And so you need to have a marketing ecosystem. So you have a community built out. Yeah. You have social channels built out. You have SEO where you're writing content. You have all these things that aren't necessarily like, I'm just telling you what I've seen. Like, the best clients that have been able to scale have this foundational thing that they use Facebook and paid media as nitrous. It's not as like getting me from 0 to 1. It's getting me from 1 to 1,000 or 1 to 10,000. And so that's what I see now is like, you used to be able to do that. Dollar Shave Club literally exited off of video and paid media arbitrage. Those days are done. Like, that's not around anymore. And you need to build these foundational people. And I think like people got so caught in the numbers and they forget that you actually need to build a brand. You need to solve why does this product make my life better? Like, there needs to be that kind of shift back to that. And you need a whole ecosystem around that. Like, paid ads are expensive. And if the only time I'm touching you is me in a product when you're on the shitter scrolling through Facebook, and that's how you're going to grow your company, good fucking luck, man. Anyways, that's my thesis, where it's just like, you shouldn't be running paid unless you're at 25 to 30% of email is driving revenues at those levels, because then you're just leaving money on the table. And to Charlie's point, if you can keep that 30%, or maybe you drive that to 35%, now I can spend more money on paid and I can make this big money wheel spin faster. But if all you're trying to do is bribe Facebook to give you, numbers to people that might call you back for a date, it starts to get long in the tooth sometimes, for me anyways.
Couldn't agree more. I got to get going. I got a client waiting on a call. One thing I want to say though, Robbo, what are you doing Saturday, man? You want to come watch some UFC fights?
Ooh, possibly. Yeah.
Sweet. I'll text
up north. Hit me up.
Cool.
All right, guys. By the way, Barry, Robert and Dylan live like a couple miles from each other in Austin, Texas.
Not a couple miles, but yeah, we're in the same city. We love each other.
I'll be in Austin in a couple weeks.
Oh, are you coming for the CXL thing?
No, I don't know what that is.
Okay. Oh, hit me up though. What are you coming to town for? Or we should ping offline. I'd love to grab some coffee.
We'll talk. I don't want to put my personal info on this live.
I love it. How about we'll take this as a thing? Everybody, let's give a little sign off. There's obviously more stuff. We're all on Twitter. Let's go around the horn in reverse order. Dylan, you got to go first, so I'll let you sign off here. Where can they find you? What can they do for you? How can we see you again? What? Give us the lowdown on the Dylan and the Koality Media and the best goddamn video about what a laptop should look like on the internet.
Oh, yeah.
It happens. Yeah. So I'm at Marketer Dylan on Twitter. I post a lot of random stuff. Sometimes it's valuable. Sometimes it's me blowing an engine and wanting a bigger engine. Hit me up. You can ask me anything. I reply to most things. It's not spammy or scammy. But yeah.
Right on. What about you, Rob?
Thanks for having me. Follow at Try Triple Whale, follow Barry, follow Dylan, follow Charlie, and then if you want to give Charlie some money, he has a really good course.
Ooh.
Oh, and Whale Mail. Subscribe to Whale Mail.
Yeah,
really
Whale Mail. And at Robbo Rayhill, by the way, you're tagged in the description here. So please give everybody here a follow. I try to make this full of good people. And then yet another great person on here is Barry. How can we find you? Because it's not Barry Hot. It's Bing Hot.
Bing Hot. Yeah, that's been my long time handle. But I think I'm just Barry Hot on YouTube, where I've had 2 videos up. I'm trying to get some more content up there live, talking more. But check out at Ranchwater on Instagram. Go find
Very
it in a
cool.
local store. It's delicious. It is a hard seltzer that absolutely does not suck, and it's not sweet to gross garbage. It's 4%. You'll have a good time. I'm very fortunate that I worked on a project that the product is actually absolutely delicious. So I'm honored to get to be part of it and be able to actually talk about this thing that I love, because I really do love it. So go try it. Actually, if you guys want, I'll make sure I'll send you guys each some, so we can
Sure.
Yeah, people
I
have.
love it. Hit us up on the
Powerful
back
stuff.
channel. That's what else is going on.
Nice. Very, the very.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, once again, hey, I'm Charlie. We'll do this again next week. I really appreciate it, guys. Like I said, I think we had a lot of fun here. We talked about a lot of really cool stuff. I know Dylan has to go, Robert, everybody. I really appreciate you guys doing this thing. If I remember correctly, next week we might have Rabba, we might have Brent, and maybe Dara will be on here, which will be awesome. We'll get another little bit of thing in here. We got a lot of other stuff going on. I really appreciate it. You can find me at CT the Disruptor on all of the things. And yeah, I got a lot of fun stuff. If you want to know how to run Facebook ads, you can follow me, or you can listen to other people and know what happened. You're supposed to do 3 years ago. That's my hot take. Whatever. I love it. Thank you guys so much. I really, really appreciate it. With that, best of luck to you all. And Rabba, Dylan, I got trade offers for you guys in the league, so I'll see you guys.
Let's do it. Sheep to the moon. Thanks for the conversation, Barry, Dylan. We'll talk soon.
Thank you all.
Bye, guys.
Cheers. Bye.